All right. Hi. So, guys, this is Chantel from Sweet Job Spot. I am here streaming live, and I just wanted to address some questions that I've received regarding resume formatting. Now, many of you know about the ATS system. That is the applicant tracking system. That is where you upload your resume and your contact details and anything else to apply for a job. Some applicant tracking systems will allow you to just upload some information and then they will just search it on their own. If they think you're a great candidate, they may contact you for a position or you can apply directly to a position. But what is it that makes applicant tracking systems so complex and so scary? The first thing is they're not scary. They are no more than a good way to explain them is they're like a Google search. So if you're thinking about yourself as a company, which as a job seeker, you should be thinking about yourself somewhat like you're a company. You want to go ahead and put your information into the system in a way that your employers can find you. So, formatting your resume, what is really important? There's two major formats that they will accept. First off, a straight up Word document. Now, if you use a Word document, you want to keep it very, very simple. If you're using something more along the lines of you know what? I'm sorry, I'm going to stop right here. I'm just going to add some people to this group because I got a few people that asked me a question about it. So I want to just make sure that they're here so that they can be part of this video. So excuse me, I'm going to start all over again. Give me a minute. I don't do live stream all that often. So it is very new to me. So if you're catching this on the replay, give me about 2 minutes to get everything going, and then I will be back uh, just uh, to explain to you about the applicant tracking system. I may have to actually start all over again. Uh, and thank you for bearing with me, those of you who are YouTube experts and think this is highly annoying. Like I said, I just try to answer some questions for people. So I want to make sure that they're available to hear that response that I have for them. So thank you for bearing with me. And you can just go ahead and fast forward. I'll put in the comments at what point in time you could start up again. All right. Anything else? I'll put in the comments at what point in time you could start up again. Right. All right, so we're back to Zooming, and I'm hoping everybody sees this. Like I said, very new to all of this, so just bear with me here. So we're talking about the ATS system, and what that is the applicant tracking system. What it does is it houses your information. So if you think of the term applicant tracking system, it essentially tracks you. So it is a large database, and in these different databases, they will collect your information and store them in there. Now, from the recruiter side, they're going to see whatever information you've put in and be able to search and look for you. So let's say maybe you applied for a job back in January. You didn't get the job, and a similar job opens up in March or now in November. If you have put your information in and it's still somewhat valid, they will find it in the applicant tracking system. Now, there's going to be two problems there. right? If you put it in January and there were a lot of other people that applied for jobs, it's going to end up at the bottom of the pile. So think of it just like a piece of paper. Bottom of the pile, top of the pile. Most recent in is going to be the one people are going to see first. The one that's at the bottom from a year ago, they're not going to see it first. Now, here is the question. How many other people are also applying from the job? Are those people also just as qualified as you are? Did they use keywords? Are you using keywords? Are you catching my drift here? So the thing is let's say 10 people applied for the job and they didn't hire any of them back in January. So the job reopens and they still got those 10 resumes. They'll probably see them because they're the most recent resumes they have, and they're going to look for anybody who's applied. Now, if 100 people apply, they might see all of they can see all of them, but let's say maybe the first 10 people were very, very qualified. So they said, you know what? We're going to interview these first 10 people. We don't really even need to look at the rest of them unless these people don't work out. Then we'll go a little deeper, right? And so then they'll go a little deeper. Some will scan every single resume and just pick out the ones that are the best. But the way it'll be presented to them is going to only be in order. So it's going to be how likely, what kind of match is it, as well as how recent the resume was updated. Because let's say you put in your resume a year ago and you've already found a job. You're not recent, it's been a year. They can't assume that you're still looking for a job. You probably aren't. You're going to be less likely to get that job, or even for them to even contact you if it's been a year. Now, different databases are different. When you talk about an ATS system that is internal, let's say you find a small to mid-sized company that has their own website and their own internal database, I will say that when it comes to their ATS system, it's probably not inundated with lots of resumes. I'm going to assume it probably only has about, a tenth of the number of resumes as something large, right? So if they post a job on, say, Indeed.com, there are millions of people seeing that job on Indeed. If they post it on their own website, it's only people who went to the website and looked, right? Now, they could always take that information and put it on to the website, but they could have you say like, okay, you find it on Indeed and apply. But there's also people who they see that they got to go somewhere else and apply, and they don't apply. So that's some people that actually will never follow through with that job. So you're not competing with them. Now, when you're formatting your resume, I know that some of you believe that there is like, the magical formatting. Let me tell you, there is really no magical format that will work, but there are some things that you do want to pay attention to when you're formatting your resume. So one thing you want to be careful of is using text boxes. And text boxes are not useful because sometimes the ATS can't read it. Now, that's not the same as tables. So if you have something and you want to keep it neat and organized, I'm going to suggest that you go ahead and put it in a table and not a text box. So let me explain to you kind of how, a text box versus a table. And I'm just going to open up a blank document in Word and share this with you. So a table, if you put it in a table like insert table, it's usually going to be able to read this, right? So you might want to list something like your skills, your core competencies, your technical skills. Excuse my typing. I am actually pretty decent, but sometimes I make mistakes. And it's hard to type and talk at the same time. So you're going to put those in here. Now, what you want to not do is you don't want to use this thing. If you want them to see it and you put it in this text box, let me move the text box. So, hold on a second. Sorry about that. I don't know. It stuck the text box in the wrong place. So let's see if it'll let me. There we go. If you're looking at things and they have a text box, a lot of times they have a difficulty reading what's inside of here. So when you're ever entering something into an applicant tracking system, a job board, you're applying in a listing, you want to double check that information to see if it went in. Some will actually be able to read this, but I would say this is less likely to be read than this text box. Another thing is it looks really good to do design work using icons. Icons will not be read by the applicant tracking system, the computer system. And what I'm talking about with icons is like a lot of people have these icons where it shows the phone, you know, or something like your email. Let's see, like there's the email icon, you know, to show people where you are. Now, the thing is people will see this. I don't know why. Yeah, okay, there we go. So like maybe like one of these icons, I think you've seen these probably in some resume templates. If you're using these icons, just keep in mind that when people see your actual resume, they will see it, but the ATS won't see these little icons, and it is okay. The ATS can usually figure out what a phone number is and what an email address is. And like I said, you always, always, always want to check. Oh no, I wasn't sharing my screen. My apologies. Let me do that now. Okay, there we go. So here is, I am clearly no expert at doing this, and well, first time's a charm, I guess. We'll try it a few more times and hopefully do better. So in terms of the content table, like I was saying, and you weren't seeing me do it, if you're going to add a table, you want to go here to insert table. This table is fine to use. This will be read pretty okay. It might still put it in the wrong order, but it'll more than likely get the words out of there. This text box here, things like this that come on this side from the text box section, you want to be cautious with using those. Those are less likely to be read. Now, sometimes they can read them, but sometimes they can't. So just keep that in mind. You can also save as a PDF or a Word document. And one of the things that I love to do with my clients is I like to come over here and hit save as, and then I go over here and I hit, let's see, I hit right here, save as text, plain text. Whatever it ends up in saved as plain text, that's what you'll get, right? So that's something that I think you need to understand, that you know, you can use plain text. Like I was saying with the icons, you can use icons. It's not going to know that you have an icon right there though. So keep that in mind. If you're using the icon instead of a word that you need to use, like let's say sometimes people will put in their hobby or something into their resume, which some people like and some people don't. If you're going for maybe a smaller company with more personal feel, hobbies are great. If I wanted to work, say, let's say I had a job and I wanted to work at a tennis company, right? But I was a database analyst, right? And I wanted to work at the pro tennis shop. And the only thing I know about tennis is the fact that I play tennis, but it's nowhere else on my resume. That would be a great time to say, I read Tennis Magazine, I like watching tennis on TV, and I play tennis, right? Because that will at least let them see that maybe you'd be a better candidate who'd be more interested in the business than somebody who has no idea about tennis, right? So something like that could be very helpful. So but if you only come here and you write down somewhere in your resume, I've got this hobby, tennis, it's not going to pick it up. It's not going to know that this means I like to play tennis. So be sure that you also have words in there that the ATS system can read, because it's just reading words. That's all it's doing. Now, the other thing is you can actually see the resume in the recruiters can usually see the actual resume that you've uploaded. So if you do use anything like if you're using color and some graphics and things like that, that is good because it will capture their attention when they're scrolling through resumes. They'll stop and look at it. Trust me, they do like looking at an attractive, different looking resume. However, just keep in mind when you're uploading it into a system that you go through and check to see what the system picks up. Don't just upload it and hit next. You have to go through and edit it, right? So that's another thing with the formatting, all right? Then there are some basic things that you need to do to format any kind of resume. And I'm going to show you how like a good, easy to read format it is important. So excuse me, let me go look at some samples that I have. Hold on, give me 1 second. And thanks for bearing with me, guys. I know that this is not a perfect presentation, and you know, I appreciate the fact that you're even still here. So, and hold on 1 second. Let me go back up. Let me look uh-oh, it seems like I'm having some connectivity issues. Am I having connectivity issues? Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, I found it. So let's say, okay, I'm looking for a template. Apologize for that. So we're going to go back over here to my Word, and I'm going to show you a template of a resume format. Now, this is a format that I use sometimes for customer service. So hopefully, is this going to close so I can use it? All right, it's not seeming to work. I'm not clear why. I'm going to stop sharing and close that out, and maybe all right, let's see if this works now. There we go. All right. So let's say this is your customer service resume, right? This is a template I've created. If you're curious about this template, you can always message me or inbox me or go to Chantel at sweetjobspot.com and ask me about this template. It's basically a customer service job template. It needs to be formatted, but it is formatted, right? So see how neat and clean the lines are going straight down the sides. It's very neat and organized. The bullet points, neat and organized. We've got a little information up here. Every company title looks the same. Job title, start date. It uses all the same formats all the way down the page. That is one of the important things in a resume. You can do a 2-pager, you can do a 1-pager. If you're going to do something like this with the 2-pager, more than likely you're going to have a little more information in here for each job that you've had, and it'll just go further down. If you've only had 2 jobs, you could, for example, delete this and it's a nice clean 1-paged resume, right? If you have several jobs, you'd want to add to it. Now, here you have your education, neat and organized, and your skills down here, neat and organized. So what's important here is you've got your dividers in between each word, so it's separated, so it'll pick it up as skills, right? The ATS system can pick this up. It is very easy to read if you're if you do something along the lines of recruiting. Recruiters can go through this and say, look at what I did. Now, as you see with formatting, do you see how all the headers are formatted the same? Skills, work experience. Some of the problems that I see, these are basic, easy things you can fix in your own resume, are just making sure you check those alignments. So when you go up here, you want to be able to do a line. See this right here? This will put the bullets. You've got this will align it. You can push it in if you want. If it's not enough information, you can push it out, but make sure these are all in the same exact place. You want to use this thing to make sure that it's right. Now, let's say you've got a few words that kind of like go to the edge and your sentences are just a little too long. You can play around with this and push it in real close, you know, or if you want to make it look like two, you can push it out. Make sure that all of these are aligned. See how neat and clean. So if you're doing, and I'll show you what it looks like if you go to like the print screen, right? I think you could see this. Hold on, wait. No, I'm not trying to actually print it. Yeah, there we go. So let's say we go to the print screen, right? And we clean it up a little, like make it small so you can read it. See how neat that looks? It just has a consistency. So that is one thing that you could fix on your own. In terms of verbiage, it's always important to put in some numbers. You see how here I have, let me zoom that in so you can see it in case you can't. Look at that. I assisted roughly 35 customers per day by answering questions. Why do we want to do that? We want to say 35 customers per day because we want them to see that we actually did the work. See, when you put real information in and you don't just put fluff, like this is, I would call a mildly fluff thing. It's not a bad thing to put in, but it doesn't tell you anything specific. So you might want to say you developed positive relationships with customers to promote loyalty. If your company had a loyalty program specifically, type that in there. Say like through the loyalty through, let's say you worked at TJ Maxx, through the TJ Maxx loyalty credit card program, right? To increase the customer satisfaction. That's really great, right? Other than that, you can even put something like addressing customers by name, you know? You could write that in there too. That way they can see that you are an actual real person looking for a job and that you did not just go to a random website and cut and paste stuff and throw it in here, right? So those are just a couple of examples of things you can do. Now, you can definitely, if you want, use some of these resume templates that they have. Just make sure that when you're using them, that you keep good formatting. You keep all the good formatting. Like this is very neat. It's very organized. I really do like the way it looks. But sometimes when you're writing stuff in here, it starts to go a little wonky. You want to reel it back in. If this is too complicated, then you want to get a template like what I have. because it just makes it a little easier to not have to play around. And I have some templates also on Etsy that if you're interested in looking for some templates, you can go to Sweet Job Spot on Etsy and get some of my templates. And, you know, if you have any questions, as always, inbox me or email me, Chantel@sweetjobspot.com. Now, that is kind of all I have for you today. And I thank everybody who came up live. If you have questions that I did not answer, go ahead and type them in the chat. And we can go through those and kind of answer them. I'm not really sure. I'm on the Zoom recorded call that's also doing Facebook Live, so I'm not really sure how to see your questions as you're asking them right now. I will have to figure that out for next time, but thanks so much. Just follow me at Sweet Job Spot. I'm on all the things. So I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and I think that's pretty much all the things. If there's another thing that I'm supposed to be on, please let me know. Oh, Pinterest. I'm on Pinterest. Just let me know. And I'd love to hear back from you how you decided to format your resume and what you got from this session. All right, guys, till next time. Bye.